What's going on, guys? Thanks for joining us tonight. Get this turned off. There we go. Sorry for my horribly terrible method of doing this. But what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Sly Talk. Today I have a very special guest, Ginger Spice. She is going to be joining us today on our very first start of our new series that we're going to be starting today about relationships. So what we're going to do with this series is basically we're going to do a start to end more or less. But today we're mainly going to be talking about kind of like the beginning parts of a relationship. You know, the dating methodology, everything dealing with COVID, you know, stuff as it appears now versus previous and what we're probably looking at into the future. Just from general ideas that we can all put together, because none of us are experts in today's COVID age, right? You know, so it is what it is, and just hope you guys join us, and we're going to have a fun talk. So, that being said, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. So, basically what I really want to kind of get out of this is just a male and a female opinion, because that's always the hard thing to do, is get an honest opinion.
Right.
You know, dating types, especially primarily like the dating methodologies that we have and that we have had. You know, it used to be you'd always get fixed up with, like in high school and middle school, you'd always get fixed up by somebody's friend. You'd always have the blind date. You know, then you have, you know, the pickup. You get older. You know, you go to bars, you meet someplace, you pick somebody up, you have that kind of dating methodology. And now you have very prevalently online dating.
Right.
So, and I know I'm no expert whatsoever in any of it. I'm terrible at it all. So, and you know, and that's why, you know, like I said, I want to get like your females from opinion on, you know, everything on that side. So let's jump right into it. So I guess, tell me, oh, what's a good one? Tell me your worst dating story.
Oh, my worst dating story. Well, there's one that definitely stands out. High school, which most of the girls would come to me and they do the whole, well, go talk to this boy, because I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to ask him out.
So you were that person.
I was that person. Right? That's what they did to me all the time. Because I'm very tomboyish and I had a lot of friends that were girls and boys. It didn't make any difference to me. It still doesn't. It's whatever. I can get along with anybody. Gender is insignificant. But yes, they always put me in the limelight and they're like, I don't want to talk to this boy. I'm too nervous. Go talk to him, you know.
You were the note passer.
I was the note passer. I was like, I don't know why she's so scared. She's so anxious, whatever it is. She wants me to tell you that she likes you. She thinks you're cute. You know, can you go roller skating or whatever we did in like high school and middle school? You know, can you walk and hold her hand down the hallway? Like, really? Come on, people. That's what they made me do. But I do remember very vividly in high school where I liked a boy and I wrote him a couple notes and I was like, oh, I like you. Do you like me too? That kind of stupid stuff. But I did it on my own.
Right.
And this particular boy says, no, I really don't like you. He saw a picture of my older sister and he's like, she's really pretty. Who's that? Can you hook me up with her? I was like, that is my older sister. Don't ever talk to me again. It was terrible.
That's so bad. Oh my God, that's terrible.
That's like the worst. Like, no, I don't like you, but who's this hot chick?
Yeah,
That's
who's
my
this?
sister, asshole.
I don't like you, but who's this? Hook me up with this person.
And it's like she resembles me. You can't tell that? Give me a break. Like there's a good resemblance there.
Oh gosh, that's terrible.
That's the worst.
Funny as shit. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I think, God, I've got some doozies.
Share.
So let's see. So I had this, you know, back because we were talking before we started the show, you know, the old AOL, AIM, and you know, messaging forums and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think I kind of more or less, well, no, we'll start at my very first girlfriend that I ever had. So I had saved up my lunch money for like a month. I had like $50.
That's lovely.
You know. So it was our very first school dance. I was in 6th grade, and I had all my buddies and said, I've got $50. Whoever finds me a girl to dance with tonight, I'll give you this $50. Of course, like half my guy buddies, they didn't care. I had this one buddy, and for the sake of protecting names and identities and stuff like that, we will call him the Marshmallow Man. For the time being, that will be his name. And it was getting towards the end of the dance, and probably still had about an hour left, but it was like a 3-hour long dance. And about an hour left, he comes running up to me. He is completely out of breath. Looks like he's on the verge of death. And he goes, hey man, I found this girl for you. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, not believing him. I'm like, okay, who is it? So he takes me up to this girl. And it was kind of funny because I can still remember the day because she was my first girlfriend. Still remember to this day what she was wearing. Now, we were in 6th grade. She was a 7th grader. Straight, skin-tight black pleather dress, red-hot leggings, and, like, calf-high boots. And I'm just like, here's the money, man. Take it. And it was so bad. But we ended up dating for a couple weeks and everything. And then it just kind of, like, died out. Like, it was never really anything. I kept in touch with her for a while after, I just talked to her last year, I think. But now, of course, she's married. She's got like 9 kids, too.
Oh, my.
But not really. She doesn't have 9 kids. She's got like 4 or 5.
Somewhere
Somewhere along there.
That's still a lot.
But, and each one's my different guy, too. Terrible. But, she I mean, not to say she's a bad person or anything of that nature.
Right.
But it was just, that's how I met her.
Yeah.
That was my very first experience with dating. And needless to say, they were just all completely still uphill after that because it was just like climbing a mountain for a while. I had met a girl when I worked for a major retailer. So, because I'm trying not to get copyright stricken here, so my third show, and I don't want to get copyright stricken already. So I was working for a major retailer, and had met a girl there. She was fun, and dated her for quite a while. Actually, actually had planned to propose to her.
Wow.
And it was kind of funny. I had gone out, looked at some rings and stuff like that. Was just going to get her like a little promissory one because wanted to take her to actually pick her ring and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But had just gotten her like a little promissory one. Cost me like $50, whatever, nothing major, And was going to ask her the next day, and she had called me up because I had already like talking to her parents and everything, and I'm like 18, 19 years old at this time.
Aww.
And she calls me up and breaks up with me over the phone. Come to find out, breaks up with me on a dare for $20 to go blow another dude.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That is terrible.
Yeah.
That is so bad.
And it was like the worst guy too to be able to do it because it was a guy we worked with, and she like this guy was complete trash.
Yeah.
Apparently did this all the time. It was like, hey, I bet you $20 that you can't make me do this. Not to get too graphic at this moment in time. That'll be for later shows. But yeah, just like like it was just like And then some of my past relationships have been horrible. And I know you have your own stories too on your side. But just the dating aspect alone, I don't think I've ever been hooked up on a blind date.
I don't think I have either.
And that was, it's kind of something that was always kind of interesting. Like you always say to your friend, just hook me up with somebody, find somebody, whatever. So you've got to know somebody that's single.
Well, no. Now that I think about it, technically, I would say that once, I guess, I was married, and obviously being bisexual, my husband set me up on a blind date with a girl I'd never met, who she was married, kind of looking for another female, which was fine. But I'm like, He didn't totally come up front with everything. He didn't tell me, she's married. I picked her out for you so you guys can have fun and go do girl stuff or whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, I guess that would be my blind date.
That's your blind date. Wow.
That was my blind date. We ended up being very good friends. She's very, very sweet. We went and did girl stuff. Her
Right.
husband had no interest in taking her on dinner dates and stuff like that. So I guess it could have been a lot worse, but we bonded at least as friends. So
Well, that's good.
wasn't terrible.
That's at least a success story.
It is, right?
So that's not bad.
She's not a terrible person.
Right.
So
I've met
yeah.
horrible people. That's just. I think I've only ever had one or two, I guess what you would classify as pickup dates, and they weren't even bars. They were at when was that a gas station?
Oh.
It was wasn't even paying attention. I was off in my own world, and legit mowed this chick down. I'm just in my phone, just blam, running her over, and it was terrible. Oh my gosh, I gotta stop moving so hard. There we go, and just mowed her right over, and it was so bad. I felt so bad. I helped her up, helped her pick up her shit and everything, and we ended up sitting there talking for a little bit. And because she had already paid for her stuff. She was waiting for our sandwich or something like that to come out. So I ended up having to buy her a new drink, but it was no big deal.
You ran her over.
I did. Oh, I totally ran her over. And she was just kind of this smaller petite girl. And I mean, granted, must say this is probably the largest I've ever been, but I was still about 220 pounds. And I mean, I might be nice and fluffy now, but that's because I'm 300 and some odd pounds right now. I used to be 220 and was fairly solid. So if I had something that fell over for a while, and she did, she just went blam straight down. Oh man, and like I said, I felt so bad. And like I said, we talked for a while. Everything was cool. Yeah. It was just we weren't as compatible as probably what we both hoped, which is fine. We had conversations, we talked, we hung out, we went out to dinner dates. Mm-hmm. We went to a couple movies together. It was never, I guess that the spark where it's going to be a good relationship. Yeah. Never hit.
And sometimes it doesn't.
Right. And it doesn't. And that's, that's the biggest thing is, you know when it hits for you. But it can't just hit for you. It's got to hit for both people. Exactly. That's at the moment when it's going to go further and it's going to add up to a relationship. Mm-hmm. Now, whether or not it adds up to a great relationship or something terrible, but you always have that certain point where it's going to turn into something like that. Yeah. You have your casual friendships that maybe have other stuff involved. And you're casually dating somebody, but then when you're actually dating somebody, you're in a relationship with somebody. Right. As far as right, and as far as online dating, God, I'm terrible online dating. I don't know if I really want to say this too much right now. Put it out there, but there for a while, I was on almost every dating site. Literally, I mean, I was paying for. Can't say it. Again, don't want to get in trouble. Firestick.com, which we know what that is. Everybody knows what a fire stick is, right? Hey! I'm sorry, I'm terrible. I'm such a nerd. But was on that, was on a couple of the other ones, and then pretty much almost every free one. And here as of late, I'm not on half. Actually, I'm not on 95% of them anymore. I just had this kind of moment of epiphany where I was getting the same thing. Yeah. All I was getting was and not to downplay and say that every person you're ever going to meet online is like this, but I was getting more. Hey, I'll do this if you send me money, or I'll give you this. Or we'll do this, and if you give me money, Yep. And I've had a lot of those, You know,
That's
I just no lie, not even a month ago, and it's when I deleted it, when I started just deleting everything. Actually, 2 months ago, December. I literally had some chick straight up, hey, I see you live close to me. We talked for probably about 2 or 3 days, and then it was like, hey, I don't want to drag this on anymore. How about this? You give me this much money, and we're not going to say how much, and I'm going to give you this, and we're going to leave that up to the audience's imagination here. And she was like, and then we don't have to talk ever again. And I'm just like, nope. Like, sorry about your luck. I'm not giving you money. Have a nice day. And deleted and blocked the profile. You know, and then now you have half of them. Like, I have one of the apps where I'll get a message every other day where it's like, hey, are you single? Oh, yeah, what's up? Oh, well, go to this website. You know, go to this website and try this out. Don't worry, it's completely free. You just have to put a credit card in for age verification, and then you get charged $9,000.
That's a big thing that I've noticed too, actually. I've tried a couple of dating apps. I'm really not much into that at all. I heard the age-old story of the plenty of swimming in the sea.
Yeah,
that one's like impossible to get rid of. Like,
right.
You can't get rid of it.
Right. It
so
is.
I was like, nope, I don't want to mess with that one. And then, of course, the other one is the Fire Stick. And it's like, I don't want to mess with that one either. There was another one that was, okay, little naked man shoot you at the arrow. That one I actually met a really good, like, friend off of. So for that, I can't say it's terrible.
I've probably had more luck with that one history-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, now, it just seems like everybody that might be active isn't looking what they're saying they're looking for in their profile.
That's a huge thing, I think, honestly, across the board. That's the one thing that turns me off of all the dating sites, is that they're going to show you all these beautiful, pretty packaged things, but they're not going to be that.
Well, and that's the other thing, too, with online dating.
Misrepresentation.
Exactly. That's one of the biggest problems with online dating is getting catfished. You know, because it's happened to me. You know, I had been talking to this person for probably about 2 or 3 months. You know, we had never physically talked on the phone, and every time I tried to talk to her on the phone, oh, I can't, or my phone doesn't have minutes, I can only use Wi-Fi, you know, so I can only use this or, you know, that or whatever. And, you know, the couple of pictures that I got sent were, you know, I eventually kind of went through and reverse Google image searched, and if I'm talking to that porn star, like, hey, I'm going to be in a good mood, but it was like you could tell. And then, you know, as soon as I brought that up, oh, they were somebody completely different. And then I get a whole different set of pictures, you know, and then it was, oh, well, I need money for this. That has literally happened to me almost every single time.
That's a big thing too, and a lot of people complain about that on one of the other sites that I'm on, is that people, you know, post their websites, they say, here's my wish list, and if you don't buy me something, I don't even want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not really what this is for. If you want gifts, then you should just say it's my birthday or
Well, even at that,
something.
if you just want to get paid for what you're selling,
there's different ways.
create an OnlyFans.
Yeah, that's what it's for.
Because in all honesty, you can probably make more money doing that anyway.
This is true.
You know.
But they want to hit it from all angles, I guess.
Right. It's like I might be interested in you, but then you got to buy me all this shit first. And, oh God, it's ridiculous. It's terrible sometimes, you know. And then the problem with a lot of the dating nowadays is if you do get past that point. So you get past all that point, and you're going and meeting the person. We always have like dating rituals. Mm-hmm. There's always something we've got to do beforehand to make sure that night goes without a hitch. You know, like for me, it's always, you know, like I have a horrible time maintaining my beard. I really do. So I'll always go, like if I know I'm going out on like an actual date, I'll go get my hair cut really, really short for some reason. And I'll have my beard cut back and get it all trim and tightened up really well. For me, that's always like a big ritual. Like if I know I'm going out on a date, I'll go get my beard cut up and my beard cut straight because, as you can see, like I have little like frillies that come out to the side.
I do that too, but I just shave mine clean off. That's what I found, you know. They like it more when I don't have a beard, so I stick with that.
I don't think I honestly my beard. I don't think you've ever seen me without my beard.
No, I haven't.
And the last time I shaved my beard completely off, it was so bad. My skin was literally 2 different tones. It was like, for some odd reason, I decided to do it in the middle of summer. So it's like, my cheeks were all this nice golden, suntan, bare ass white. It's like I literally had bare, plain albino ass cheeks hanging from my face. It was terrible. I was just like, I'm never doing that again. Like, I will trim my beard back in the summer, really tight and really small, but it is never coming all the way off. It's just like, it was, because that's all I heard. Like, for like 2 weeks. Oh, you're such a baby face.
Yeah. I'm either albino or lobster. I don't have many other shades. That's all you get. Either I'm pasty or I'm burnt, and I shouldn't be in the sun.
Oh, I get sunburned so bad. Oh.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
That's not a good look for anybody, though. Honestly.
No. And you always have that straight up asshole that's like, oh, you've got the sunburn. Wham! Really? Does it hurt? Oh, you want to.
Yep, I'm gonna punch you in the sphincter if you touch me again.
Right? Or you have that person that goes. Oh my god, I hate those people. But so like, do you have any type of dating rituals?
I do actually. I've developed. I kind of think of it like a pre-screening process,
Right?
Because in the COVID times, we're doing things differently now.
Right.
And I do have a profile up on a website, and I'm picky about what I put up there for safety. Everybody should be.
Oh
safe.
yeah, everybody. Yeah.
You can't put all your business out there. It's not safe for you to do that. So, with that in mind, I pick a close location. I don't ever tell anybody right where I'm at. Don't give out your last name. Don't give out your personal information.
Right.
But I tell them, I'm like, this is a pre-screening process that I have. You're going to do a video chat with me first. We can meet somewhere public. Wear your mask. We can grab coffee. We can have a dinner. We can go to a bookstore. Whatever you want to do. It's not going to be in my hometown. It's going to be somewhere a little bit away.
Right.
I don't want you right in my backyard. And I want to make sure that you're not somebody that lives right in my backyard either. So, both sides of that.
Right.
And overall, I find that it works really well. I don't give out my phone number. There's free Google Voice numbers. You set them up, give people this number.
Yeah.
So again, you're not dealing with them directly having your information.
I usually do, because like for me, when I usually do something like that, because that's one thing that I've kind of learned to do, especially with the online world the way it is right now.
Yeah.
Is you always try to voice chat or video chat first.
Even a phone call.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I usually like I have a general rule when I'm talking to somebody online, like, and I have to count them too. It's my weirdness here. So I have a minimum message requirement. So for me, we have had to have sent back and forth 200 what I would consider quality messages, like hey or how you doing or what's up. Don't ever count. But they actually have to be legitimate conversational, messages back and forth on whatever app that we're on, And then once you get to that point, okay, then here you and I have established this relationship on this part here, even though it's a virtual relationship, that we've established something there because we've maintained that type of level of conversation.
Right.
And then you take it to the next step. So I still have a lot of my stuff private and everything on there, but I'll usually send them like a Facebook link to my Facebook. Because for me, that's usually what I'll do, because it is what it is. I mean, I don't have a lot of information on my Facebook, but it's, let's just face it. I mean, in all reality, in today's time, if you really want to know somebody, all they're going to have to do is do a reverse Google image of my face anyway. Because more than likely, the profile picture that I'm using is probably on my Facebook.
Right.
Because what app doesn't use, a lot of them say, now as soon as you download them, do you want to sign up using this, or sign up using your Facebook, or sign up
They
using
all
your
linked
Google.
in.
Right, they're all linked together. So they all have some type of a level of interlinking and everything. And that kind of goes without saying that if somebody really wants to find you, and that is the danger of it all,
Oh, it is.
is if somebody really wants to find you, there's not much stopping somebody, and that's the scariest part.
It really is.
Because like I've actually had it happen to me where I'm talking to somebody, I'm having a good casual conversation with somebody, it hasn't even gone anywhere really, to say other than we've just been talking. And I've actually had it where somebody came to my work. Now, not recently, but somebody has came to my work looking for me, and that's also another reason too why I don't put a lot of information on my social media stuff anymore. Because they literally came to my work, wanted to fight me because I was talking to his wife. Now, all truth be told, I did not know she was married. Her profile said she was single. Actually, it said she was widowed. So she was saying the dude was dead. Sorry, dude. She already told me that you were dead, and I didn't know.
Misrepresentation.
Exactly.
Once again. That's
And
the other scary part.
and that was just it. Like, this dude came to my work wanting to get in a physical fight with me. Now, push came to shove. Had I probably fought him at that point in my life, I probably would have beat the shit out of him. And then I would have lost my job anyway. But luckily, one of my coworkers had kind of intercepted him first and managed to get a message to me beforehand. So I was able to exit the building safely and kind of go along my merry way. And then notify the proper authorities to let the guy know that, okay, it is what it is. I actually ended up having to have a full-blown sit-down with the guy. Because he started calling the work after all this and started threatening me and everything. And I'm like, dude, look, I'm not even talking to your wife anymore. I didn't even know.
That's
I had to take screenshots of her profile, and like ended up having like a full blown like mediation with this guy to say, look, I'm not going to press charges against you because I understand you're pissed. I understand. I would be too.
But it's not your fault.
Right.
She's developing this whole fantasy.
Right. And I said,
you or anyone
so
else.
I sat down with this guy and was like, look, this is what's going on. It's like, her and I have never actually met in person. I was like, here's all the messages. Right there's everything for you. It didn't even really get like hot and heavy on the messaging part either. It was just, it was general conversation. So it's like, so he really had no reason to be mad at me, but for some odd reason, I guess he picked up her phone and saw that I had Messenger and then kind of read through some of the stuff. Didn't actually bother looking to see what her profile actually stated. And that was kind of, what had done it. And that's how he found me, was a reverse Google image search. So I try to mix some stuff up there on my end for my own protection and stuff like that, just because, well, that's kind of scary, and I've had that happen to me. And God knows, if that would be, like if something like that would happen to you, that would just be terrible. It's just.
I've had a stalker before. I've had a couple stalkers. I got married when I was like 19.
Right.
And the guy that I dated before that was like following me around town. He knew my car. It said just married on the back of it, like written on the window, just married, and we left it up there. He had been to my house one time, so he showed up at my house in the middle of the night one night, and my dog was going crazy. My husband's at home with me, and all the hair is standing up, she's going crazy, and she's a husky. She's probably about 70 pounds. Very sweet dog, but she knew something was wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And so she starts barking. We walk outside and go out on the porch, and the car was sitting in the driveway. They turned the engine, turned the lights on, and drove off. He followed me to work one time. Like, it was bad. He finally stopped, but yeah, that went on for a while. But then my husband, stink bug.
Oh.
Then my husband, of course, because I was married, it said it on my car.
Right.
It's following me around. Yeah, he started driving my car during the day. And I guess that came to a stop real quick because I wasn't driving in that car anymore. So he wasn't going to see me anyway.
Yeah.
Missed your chance. But it was scary.
like I guess for that particular portion of it all, like that's always the scary part with dating,
Yeah.
is you have people that for some odd reason just can't let go,
They get obsessed.
and I mean I can see why that could happen to somebody. They get to this point where something just snaps in their head, and that's where we were talking about the spark before. They feel it. It's like, oh God, it's there. Like you're the one. Oh, and it stabs you right in your feels all the time when you're with and you're around that person, and the other person just doesn't feel it, and or has lost it.
Or they're maybe not sure yet.
Right, and it gets to that point where I guess the moral of the story is you have to. This is where I want to get the whole series to kind of move. Is communication is always key with everything.
Absolutely.
Because if you can't talk with your partner, your lover, your relationship, your boyfriend or girlfriend, if you can't talk to them openly and honestly, yes, I might hurt your feelings, but in the same instance, would you rather that I hurt your feelings now, where it could be something where we could overcome, move on, and grow stronger together with, or would you rather we let it bottle up and build until it becomes something that ends up becoming terrible and tragic?
I would always rather have somebody be honest with me.
Right.
And that's what I've told them, I feel that is the best policy, because on my end of things, I feel that I owe it to that person going into a relationship, telling them certain things like, hey, I'll be straight with you, I'm bisexual. If that's a problem, let me know. That's okay. We'll move on. If you can cope with it, great. If you can't, that's okay too.
Right.
I don't judge anybody for that, but I feel like it's a way of showing respect to someone.
Right.
If you're being honest and being true to yourself. Because if you're not, you're conforming yourself into something that's not you. It's going to fall apart at some point.
Well, and even at that too, if you have the ability to lie to somebody else, you're lying. You're also lying to yourself. You can't be true to yourself, and that's probably one of the biggest travesties that I see with a lot of people today, is you literally see them putting themselves in this box where they are just lying to themselves,
and they're not happy.
And they're not happy, and just because you might be with this person, this might be the perfect relationship for you, but deep inside you are dying. Like you have become this just mass of anger and whatever behind there, simply because you couldn't be honest with yourself. And that's the biggest thing. Be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Be honest with yourself, with your partners, with your friends. And it's hard to say. It really is. And it's always a tough thing. It always is. Because we worry now so much, especially now. We worry about people's feelings. We worry about, oh my gosh, am I going to say something that's going to offend somebody? Am I going to say, how is somebody going to deal that? Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
And I might be 100% honest. And yes, it might offend somebody. It might offend, it might offend you. It might offend you. It might offend Joe Schmo who might watch this in 10 years.
But you're not responsible for how someone else feels either.
Exactly.
You should be allowed to express yourself freely, but in a respectful way. And you never really know how someone's going to take your approach. You can try to be, be PC about things, but you never know what that is nowadays.
Just makes me want to put on my sunglasses. PC principle here, Oh God, copyright strike! Oh no. But that's just But yeah, you're right, and that's just it. Because and especially with today's society, being PC is just so mind-numbing sometimes.
It's like walking through a minefield.
It is.
Every person's different. You don't know what's going to upset them. You don't know if there's something that's especially traumatic that could trigger that person. You kind of have to do the best you can.
Right.
But it's hard because it feels like at times you just can't speak freely. Right. And it is it's sad because it's so out of balance, I think, with the whole thing.
Well, and there are a lot of times too where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know, because then you always have that age old where it just always seems like the end of every like bad relationship. You always have that argument. Well, you should have told me this when you first thought about it. Because if I would have, it would have been bad at the time. Now, granted, but that comes back to the argument too. Yes, it might have been bad at that point in time, but it could have been something at that point you may have been able to repair.
It's tough.
It is.
It's tough with finding good timelines and good approach with someone.
Exactly.
Whether it's choice of words, whether it's your choice of timing, there is no perfect timing. You just try to deliver your message with compassion and understanding and hope that that person can see it.
Exactly.
You don't have it with the intent to hurt someone. Most of us don't.
Right.
But sometimes it's going to be hurtful no matter what we say. But the approach and letting that person be understanding and just being honest with them, if it's a good person, they'll at least try to hear you out.
Right. And, you know, that's just...
It's tough.
And I guess the last thing we'll touch on this evening is because we had so I don't know, did you get a chance to watch the last show that I did last week?
I did.
Okay.
Oh,
So tying back into my previous show, that terrible atrocity. But anyway, so getting back in, so dating in the COVID world, like you said, you have your checks and balances for COVID and everything, you know. And I think that, in all honesty, that's great. I think that's a great plan for everybody to adopt. Is create a system for yourself, not only to protect yourself, but to protect those that you are attempting to, I guess, using ancient terminology, to court. You know, because it's going to be, eventually, you're going to find somebody. You're going to have that conversation with somebody. You're going to find them. You know, they're going to find you, and you're going to hit that point in that spark where you're going to want to take it to the next level. And it's always better if that person is right for you. They'll take and they'll follow your steps. They'll do the video chat. They'll do the call. They'll do the hangout, you know, at like a remote location, just for everybody's protection, you know. To then show them not only is that respecting them and their own privacy, but that's showing you that they respect you enough to follow your wishes. And that's a big thing. And especially in today's world, you know, it's just showing respect. You have to be able to show respect. You have to be able to find that kind of middle ground and find the safe path through the minefield of today. And that's what it all is.
And I feel like also by doing that, you're leading by example. You're saying, look, I'm not just a phony. I'm not just here asking you buy me things or, you know, pay for this for me and then I'll pay attention to you. You're showing them I'm a real person. Let's have some messages. Let's talk back and forth.
Exactly.
Be respectful with me. I'll be respectful with you. Be honest. Tell me what you're looking for.
Right.
And there's certain things you want to ask up front. You know, are you married? Are you in a relationship? If you're in a relationship, would you not be able to tell this person about me? If I'm some hidden secret, I don't want to be that.
Right.
I don't deserve it. The other person doesn't deserve it because they can't consent to that. So it rules out a lot of, let's just call it cannon fodder. That's how I look at it. It's just cannon fodder.
Well, that's what it is. So, yeah.
But the more you get those experiences, the more it builds your confidence, your esteem, and it lets you know that you're going to find a worthwhile person that way.
Exactly.
If they're willing to go through those steps. They care enough and they think you're important enough and respect you to do that. And they're going to build those things. I look at it like building a foundation.
Exactly.
You have to build a foundation
So,
of something.
and that's where I try to always look at it, because I come from a construction background. You know, my great-grandfather did it. My great-grandmother worked for the railroad. She basically built some of the, you know, original railways that power, you know, the United States as it is today. You know, she did all that, raising my grandfather. My grandfather did, you know, construction and everything when he was younger. My grandfather on my mother's side, full one, you know, he retired from construction, building, you know, houses and everything every single day, day in and day out. My father still does construction. I've done construction both as a job and just side work and just in my own free time. You know, my brother deals with it. And I mean, I would imagine that, probably not my kids, because I unfortunately probably never have children. But hopefully one of my siblings will have kids, and they'll follow in that line too. Because I think it's also important to know that if you know the steps to build a house, you can apply that figuratively usually, but you can apply that to just about anything. If you can build a house, you can follow a blueprint. If you can follow a blueprint. I cannot talk right now. It's terrible. If you can follow a blueprint, you can make a plan.
Right.
And that's what everything is. Just make a plan. Set a goal for yourself. Whether it be a relationship, whether it be personal, professional, set a goal for yourself. Make a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Develop a blueprint.
Stick to it.
Build a foundation. And from there, if you have a stable foundation, you have stability there, you can find somebody to help you build the walls. You build the walls, you put up the drywall, you put up the insulation, you put up the exterior. Eventually you have a home.
You do.
And like all homes, and we'll eventually touch this later in the series, but like all homes, they all get lived in. Eventually they lose that new home smell, and you have to worry about dog shit on the carpet. But you clean it up, you put a little bit of carpet magic on that shit, scoop it right up. Maybe you might have to call the rug doctor, But, terrible at analogies. I'm so bad.
Well, I guess that totally makes sense, though, because it's not just the foundation and building what you have, but maintaining it.
Exactly.
It takes constant work and constant effort. You can't just expect, I'm going to put my best foot forward and we're dating and it's all fancy and you're going to see me at my best. And then once we're actually serious dating months down the road, you can't do that. You both have to still be contributing equal parts. You're still partners.
Exactly.
Nothing's changed.
And that's just, going back into, talking of relationships in general, I've been in a lot of relationships where everything starts off shiny and new and sparkly and glittery and yay, and everybody's happy and everybody's content, and all of a sudden somebody has a bad day and the world fucking ends. And then it never stops. It never stops ending, and then it just gets worse and gets worse and gets worse and gets worse. And like relationships like that, and it just seems like one side stops contributing altogether.
Right.
And then you have one person trying to hold up the responsibility of two people, and
it's too much for one person.
it's too much. It really is, and you can't be. The same thing with every relationship that you go through. You can't just be the only person holding up. You can't be the only footer in that foundation.
No.
You have to have both sides working to hold the house up. Because if you don't, the house is going to crumble. If you don't build that stable foundation of equal ground, it's going to crumble.
Absolutely.
And that's I always try to use the analogy. I guess when I talk like this part here, I always try to use the analogy. You're always building a house in earthquake territory. Always. And you always have to look at it like that. And there's a specific way that they build homes in earthquake territory. Most houses have, and I apologize, I did not do my research on this one again. My fault, my bad. But some of the newer skyscrapers and everything of that nature. Now these are huge, tall buildings, and we're going off on a construction tangent. My apologies. We're getting off on the relationship right now. We're just going to talk about construction. Good food for thought, though. But some of the newer skyscrapers, so when they build the foundation, they build a cup in the foundation. So as they build the skyscraper higher and higher, if an earthquake happens, the skyscraper can actually do this on the foundation. So it can move freely. Mm-hmm. It's not completely tied to the foundation. It's actually running on kind of like a rail system. It's locked in, but it can float freely.
Gives it flexibility.
and gives it flexibility, and thus flexibility gives it strength. So even if you are building, and this comes back to where I was getting to with this, if you're under the understanding that sometimes, most times, every relationship is going to have its earthquakes. Everybody's going to have a bad day. We're human. We are the only species capable of both great acts of kindness and great acts of believe the exact quote is great acts of kindness and great acts of aggression. Whether that aggression be physical violence, verbal abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, whatever. But we are the only species that is capable of that in the known universe. Apologize for all my space alien buddies that are watching this, 10,000 light years. Go Zedron, that's really bad. Should not have done that. Sorry. Anyway, but it's if you know that and you understand that we are capable of both things, we can care deeper, we can love stronger, and we can maintain a relationship better. That way, when we have the moments of weakness or the moments of, bad things happen, Kate has a bad day today. Sorry, guys, can't do anything. You have days like that where you can find the issue, talk about the issue, again, with being honest with both yourself and your partner on the issue at hand, hopefully resolve it, and move beyond it. And just like most things, every wound creates a scar, whether it be big scar, little scar, massive scar, deep scar, whatever. Every wound can create a scar. But if a wound heals properly, the scar usually is stronger. And that's one of the biggest things there. So just, again, showing respect, adequate respect to the moment and the timing of that. Understanding that nobody is perfect. Everybody's going to have some sort of moment of weakness or moment of Karen. Everybody's going to have one of those moments. But if you care about somebody enough and you've established a relationship with that person, it can make all the difference, I think, right?
Absolutely. I had an analogy that a therapist presented to me, and I thought it was a great concept. It made so much sense. So when you're building a relationship, you build something that we'll call a love bank. You both have a joint checking account at this love bank. When you have a good day, either one of you, you're one or both making a deposit. You're building up your balance in this account. You're feeling good. One of you has that said crappy day. You might take a withdrawal out. One of you gets a little snippy with the other one. That's a withdrawal. But you always want to both put equal effort into that checking account and make sure that you never go in the negative. You want to keep a healthy balance for both of you. And that's, again, the balance of everything. It's life. You're going to have ups and downs, but it's how you handle them and how you react and treat the other partner and think of them.
Right. Most definitely. I think that's a great analogy too. Mm-hmm. But I have to say, when you said love bank, I completely thought of something else. The love bank.
Not spank bank. That's different.
Well, it's technically a love bank, right?
Well, yes, true. That's a whole different.
Oh gosh, that's too bad. Oh, we're terrible. So I guess let's. I guess we'll end it with some closing stories real quick, and then we'll do our ending remarks, and we'll let everybody go for the evening. Anything in particular that you would like to add to this? Any story that you feel needs to be told?
guess with anything, I would say that if you feel like you're in a relationship and it's important to you, whatever it is, whether you think you're going to get married, a boyfriend, whatever it is, if you feel like you're struggling, it might be hard, but try and talk to that person and keep it real with them, but be considerate of their feelings. They'll probably support you a lot more than what you realize. And if you're afraid, let some of that fear go. If it's the right person, they'll care about you and they'll work with you.
Great. And I'm going to second that motion. And it's been my opinion and my experience. It is just that. By being able to be honest with yourself and honest with your partner, your significant other, whatever. Yes, as with anything, it hurts at first. But eventually the pain will go away. You've got to get that. You have to get that over that first hump. You've got to. It's the same thing with dating rituals, with everything. You've got to take that first step. Because if you don't, you're always going to sit there and kind of be like, well, I'm never good enough because of this. Change the way you look at things, especially when it comes to dating. If you've dated all the wrong guys or all the wrong girls in your history, change what you look for. Maybe look for something a little bit different. Maybe think outside the box. Maybe don't try to do it this way. If you're used to going to a bar and getting picked up by a guy, or a guy being used to going to a bar and picking up a girl and then wondering why your relationships never work out, maybe try something else.
Broaden your horizons.
Exactly. Broaden your horizons. And that's where I think that we'll come to our closing statements on this evening with is there are very many ways to find a significant other, to start the dating, the courtship. Whether it's your mom's coworker's niece or something like that, and you're being set up as a blind date. It is what it is. If it's right, it's right. Trust me, it'll be there. If it's wrong, it'll be wrong. You'll know it. They're gonna know it. Yeah. And it's just it's the best practice to be honest.
Trust your gut.
Exactly.
And your warning signs.
Right.
Don't just ignore them and make excuses. When your gut tells you something, listen to it. That was one thing.
I always had this one friend that she was dating a guy for a long time. Now nothing ever bad happened, other than the fact that she found out like 6 months after they broke up that he was a terrible bastard and had been cheating on her God knows how long with however many other women that there was. I don't think to this day he's going to be the only person that knows. And actually, I don't even know if he'll know, because he's just that much of a man whore. But it was,
Whoa, sorry.
Yeah, but that's just it. It was, had she probably. And that's the funny part. You always look back at a relationship after it fails to find out what went wrong.
That's smart.
So you start seeing, okay, well, maybe I should have noticed this. Maybe I should have noticed this. Maybe I should have noticed. Value your past experiences. Trust me on this. Value your past experiences, because your experiences in life are what make you who you are. They have brought you to this point of your life. They have made you who you are.
Absolutely.
And they have made you this for a reason. So rely on that. Rely on, as Ginger here said, rely on that gut feeling. Trust me. It's right here. You'll feel it. You'll feel it. You will. You'll get that, you see a hot, pretty guy. Ooh, looks so snappy. Ooh. The first word that comes out of his mouth and your gut turns into a knot, and you know this guy's going to be a prick.
Nope, I'm out.
He might be a pretty boy. Might be a little bit of fun, but you're probably going to end up having a bad time. Get out the door. Listen to your gut. And it is what it is. We're all going to have bad days. We're all going to have good days. We're all going to make mistakes. And there are going to be some successes out of mistakes, and there are going to be some failures out of mistakes. We are who we are, and we're moving forward.
Always learning, always going forward.
Yep. Don't ever believe that don't ever teach an old dog new tricks. Just let me tell you, I had like a 19-year-old dog once, and that dog could learn a new trick almost every week. It always learned. It's how you apply that knowledge. And that's what we kind of hope to do here on Slide Talk, and this will be my closing remark for the evening. I want to, of course, give very special thanks to the beautiful Ginger Spice here. And thank you very much for joining me tonight, too.
Thank you for having me.
But, again, everybody, be safe. COVID sucks. Everything else is kind of just whatever. Just be respectful. Be respectful to yourself. Be respectful to others. Times of COVID, wear a mask. Be responsible. You're not wearing the mask just to protect yourself. You're wearing it to protect everybody else. And it, same thing with relationships. Be smart. Please, be smart. Take the time before jumping into something. Pay attention to your gut. Pay attention to different signs. Look them up. Do some relationship studies. If you've been in a rut for 6 years, 2 months, whatever, because you've dated nothing but horrible guys that like to throw you through windows. I just have friends that has happened to recently. But physical abuse, no matter what the excuse, is unforgivable.
Any abuse is
Any abuse.
No excuse.
There's no excuse for that.
You can stop before you get to that point. That's
Exactly.
a choice.
Exactly. There's always that point where you can turn away and move out of something. I understand you may love and care for that person as much as possible. But there's got to be a point where not only that you're respecting them, but you're respecting yourself. Get away from that as fast as possible. Be safe, people. Be smart. We have big brains. Aliens made us this way. So, use them. And everybody, enjoy. I'm going to start the music here. We're going to fade out here in a second. But thank you guys very, very much for joining us tonight.